Hello. Hi, everybody. Hi. I see lots of new faces here today. How exciting. Thanks for coming, everybody. Before we get started, I would like to say hello over there to Kim Burke and her colleague Paris, who I don't know if she's still here, but they're here representing women in business, and they sponsored the refreshments today. So thank you, Kim and Paris. We appreciate that. Okay. We are so fortunate to have Judy Lipsky and her friend Ruth Weiner from Sharon here today. So Judy is a longtime member and participant here at the center, and it makes me so happy when our members want to share their hobbies and passions with everyone in this setting. And it's happened a number of times. And look at the crowd. This is just lovely. I'm so happy about that. Judy, you'll see her in the pool room. She's part of Senior Moments Chorus, and she's here all the time. So thank you, Judy. Aside from being a member of the center, she is a very talented artist and photographer, and she has a display over at Walpole Public Library right now where she has captured photographs of her travels, and you're going to say this much better than me, but her travels with her and Ruthie in their bicycles and all the years of their friendship. So I'm going to turn it over to Judy now, and she can tell you in a much better way about it. Thank you.
Thank you. Well, thank you for coming. I'm Judy, Ruthie, and I'd like to thank Carrie. I can't. Can you hear me? Too loud? Okay. All right. I'd like to thank Carrie McManama, Debbie Fradkin, and Jim Hines for helping us and encouraging us to set all of this up. So I guess we'll get started.
So how it began.
Okay.
That's me. What you don't see is my sister is holding me up.
And that's me, always seeing something interesting down the sidewalk and being very determined to get there.
We go back a long way on our bicycles.
Nothing has changed. It's in the genes, I guess. And we met each other in the 70s. Our kids were in a play group together, and we discovered that we both loved to bike, and we both had our 3-speed English bikes from when we, in the 50s, from when we were,
kids.
Young teenagers, yeah, maybe 12 years old. And these were the bikes that we still had, and we took a day-long bike ride on these bikes. We got a bike carrier, and we went off. And these were the days when nobody was wearing helmets. You know, it was just free, and the wind blew your hair, and it just felt so wonderful. Nobody was thinking about brain injuries in those days, but we did a lot of miles on those bikes, but then we were really confined to areas that were kind of flat and easy biking, and we wanted to do a little bit more. And we got a hold of this book.
This is our Bible, by the way.
It's the Biking Bible. Yeah, Howard Stone's.
It's called Short Bike Rides in Greater Boston and Central Massachusetts. And we have them for Rhode Island, we have them for New Hampshire, we have them for Maine.
Yeah,
and it gives directions, so every page gives a map and directions. And it's
very
well used.
Yeah. So the years went by, and then around about 1980 or so, we decided to get some good 21-speed bikes. And I went to the bike store, and being the Yankee that I am, I'm always looking for a bargain, I saw a used bike. Now, granted, it's a boy's bike, and it's always been too big for me, and it still is, but I learned how to ride, and I swing my leg over. And we love these bikes so much, we named them. This is Brown Bear.
Yeah.
And
Blukey's in my garage. I'm sorry, I didn't bring him.
yeah, Blukey is decommissioned.
Well, he was a
but,
blue bike. See, blue key, Blukey.
Yeah. But Brown Bear still sees service. And eventually, in the 80s, our kids were a little bit older and we could take off. And then we started to do week-long bike trips. And this is how the bikes, I should explain first about this bike. When I bought the bike, it looked like this. Okay. It had drop-down handlebars. It had a seat that was about this wide, and it was uncomfortable. So I put English handlebars on it and a comfortable seat. And in fact, even years later, I even changed the gears because it had touring gears on it, which, boy, you could really go fast with them, but it was no help going up hills. So I actually had them changed to mountain bike chain, and it made the pedaling much easier. We eventually got toe straps,
Toe
and
clips.
we went on our way. And we had basically 4 bags. I kept my cameras in here. That was all of our luggage. And I kept a fanny pack. And the fanny pack went here. And that held all my toiletries and wallet and stuff. So we were on our way. Clicker.
And there we are. We're a little bit young.
Yeah, yeah. Right.
Notice how loaded we are with our gear.
Yeah. Yeah.
And these are all the places that we've been.
Yeah.
The adventures of Blukey and Brown Bear. And some of them we have been more than once. For example, Maine, we've been 4 times. All of New England, Ireland.
Yeah.
Yeah, we've been to Ireland.
The island with the bike?
Well, we'll tell you about that.
Yeah. We'll
Shortly.
We swam. No, Maine, we did just about every inch of the coastline and islands, starting with Kittery all the way up to Calais. So that's why it was 4 times
4 different
going
trips.
to Maine to do that. And this was the key to our success. Okay?
Dental floss.
Right. Okay, we'll explain. First of all, we never went with a group. Okay, we never went with a tour group. It was just the 2 of us figuring out where we were going to go and how we were going to do it.
We did go one time with a group,
Well,
and we'll tell you about that later.
Yeah, but we would pick out an area, and I think our first overnight trip was up to Nova Scotia, which doesn't really have a million roads. It was just some nice, beautiful coastal roads that aren't traveled too much by cars. And so the dental floss we took a map, a big map, and we wanted to we cut a distance on the dental floss that corresponded to 40 miles because we didn't camp, we stayed at places, okay, and we needed to be able to get from one place to the next. So anywhere between 40 and 50 miles, generally speaking, would get us to that next place. And we started off using thread on the map, but we found that dental floss stayed in place a little bit better. So that's why the dental floss.
So we'd use the map and the telephone, and we'd set up every single leg of our journey. There was nothing left to chance. 2 women out alone on the road. You know, you really have to plan.
Yeah.
GPS dental floss?
Yeah. Long before GPS. And so since we called this program Blukey and Brown Bear, The Adventures of Blukey and Brown Bear, we decided that we would explain all the ways that the 2 bikes had to travel. Okay, and at times they traveled by plane, And when they did, we have to do some special things to them.
This is at the airport when we were going up to Nova Scotia, or it might have been PEI. At any rate, we had to turn the handlebars, we had to flatten the tires, we had to take off the pedals, and then we had to cover them up and put it in bags.
Right.
And we did this all in the airport with all these people watching.
And sometimes, if there was a highway involved where you just couldn't bike at all, we were able to, luckily, get if you can believe it, the bikes went into these compartments along with people's luggage. And at one point they said, I'm sorry, I don't think that you're going to be able to get to your destination, but they thought that they'd pick up even too much luggage, but it all worked out and we were able to get there. Sometimes on the fronts of buses, that worked out pretty well.
And the thing is, the bus drivers don't help. I mean, Judy and I pretty much had to do everything, which we did.
And they're impatient, too. Yeah. Now, when we went up to Maine and Vermont and New York and one of the times to Pennsylvania, we took a car. We actually rented a car. And now we weren't confined to keeping everything in just these 4 bags. So we had a whole car, and we filled the car up with so much stuff that when we got where we needed to go, we couldn't find anything.
We had to haul everything out, bring it into the motel or the hotel or
Yeah.
the bed and breakfast, and get ready for the next day.
Yeah.
We even brought our pillows.
Yeah, they went by ferries. And occasionally they even hopped on a truck because, there was a few circumstances where we hired somebody to get us to a place that it was too dangerous to ride. And they've gone on trains, and one of which was we were curious to. We're not joggers, and we were curious as to the route that the marathon takes. So we drove over to, early on a Sunday morning, we drove to Hopkinton with our bikes and left the car there, hopped on the bikes, and we rode to Boston. And that's the finish line. Oh, no, that's the start line. Oh, I put the wrong picture in there. There is a finish line in Boston. We really did get there. And so, and then we put the bikes on a train and took it back to Ashland and just biked up to Hopkinton. Okay, and one of the places, we had to get from one island to the next, and we drove up with our bikes, and this was the fellow who was going to take us over, but when he saw the bikes, he didn't look too happy, and this was the reason. Because
And we had 2 of
he
them
had
with
to
all
fit
our
us
luggage.
and the 2 bikes on that little thing.
But we did it.
But as usual, Ruthie charmed the pants off of them. So,
Not literally, honest.
and one time we were in Pennsylvania, and they were piggybacked onto the piggyback was on the piggyback, had a little car trouble.
Well, this was very fun. We were up in Washington State, and we needed to get from point A to point B to Port Townsend. Isn't that where we were?
Yeah, on the Olympic Peninsula.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
and,
we hired this nice young fellow to fly us there.
Yeah. It was a 4-seater, and boy, we were just full of ourselves, you know? We really were. And this was one of only 3 times that we rented bikes. When we went to Ireland, we rented bikes. When we went to Holland, same thing, and they were wonderful bikes. But when we got to the place in Port Townsend...
Not so good.
They were almost as bad. I mean, they were real dogs. We went out to do a day of biking, and the chain kept falling off, and the gears were terrible. Well, we went back to that bike store. We had to walk the bikes about 2 miles to get back to the bike store. And we gave them a piece of our mind, but they gave us decent bikes finally. So we were fine.
Brand new bikes out of the box.
Yeah. Okay, now of course we have to contend with the road. Now our most ideal roads are those that look like this.
The ones less traveled.
Yeah. And actually, this is 1A going down to Provincetown.
Truro.
Through Truro.
There you go.
Yeah, it's a nice road. Yeah. And sometimes you could see a long ways what road that you're going to travel on. That's up in Washington.
This is Ireland.
Ireland. Yeah, just a couple of corn cribs on that road besides us. And yes, and sometimes we got a glimpse of what awaited us.
So we had a little game that we would play. And we would, because you have to make it all the way up to the top, and that is grueling. And we did Vermont too, and that was grueling. So the game we played was categories.
To get us not to think about the pain.
Right. So we'd say something like fruit, and we'd go back and forth and back and forth. And there's good distance between us.
It became a contest of who finally couldn't think of the next.
This picture was, where was this?
That's up in Nova Scotia, getting close to
Biganish.
Cabot Trail.
Yeah. So one time, we were a little frustrated. We'd gotten through all of our categories. We decided to do swear words.
No kidding. And sometimes we were maybe 50 yards apart and we're yelling it out.
We got to the top.
But it kept the pain away. And there was, so at least these were at least switchbacks, okay? We hit some hills in Vermont that were not switchbacks. And yes, we did, in case you're wondering, we did end up walking the bike sometimes. And there was one place where a lady actually had a water spigot out on the street. Just a house that ran a water spigot out in the street because there were so many bikers who needed water when they were halfway up the hill that she and her husband provided it. Yeah. Sometimes it's just a bordering green where an unpaved path, and sometimes, yes, there it is, Clifton Castle. Yeah. The moors in Nantucket. Oh, but they weren't always those kinds of roads. Okay, we have gone through cities. This is actually a scene in Everett, and a few years ago we took there was a 40-miler starting in Cambridge and ending in Chelsea, and all the cities in between. And when we got to not far from the Encore area, there was a rotary called Sweetser Circle. And there must have been 2 or 3 lanes of cars going around that circle. Mm-hmm. And we said, oh my goodness.
Yeah, you know how hard it is when you're in a car. So imagine how hard it is when you're in a bicycle.
So there was a bus barn nearby, and we tried to see if there was any buses going out. We went to a couple of businesses, and there was nobody with trucks or anything like that. So
Nobody was going to help us.
We sucked it in. We said, hey, we're not going to go backwards 35 miles to get back to where we started or whatever. So we got on that circle, the 2 of us, side by side. We took up a whole lane, and there was all kinds of cars beeping at us and people swearing out the window.
We didn't care.
But we got through, and everybody was slow.
That was probably one of our worst experiences on the road.
Yeah. But this was
my worst experience on the road, this one. Yeah, we came over the Bourne Bridge, and did you ever go on the Bourne Bridge with just a car and it shakes and it rattles?
I don't think
try
you
it
can
on a
feel
bicycle.
It in a car. Yeah, I mean it had a sidewalk, but every time a car went by it, it vibrated.
Yeah.
Okay, but Ruthie took this picture of me, which she'll explain in a minute. I couldn't take a picture of her because she was off
I was
that
too
bridge so
nervous.
fast. I couldn't catch her in time. But go ahead.
So there's a story with her T-shirt. It's, if you notice, Molly B's Adele. Molly was Judy's mother-in-law. Adele was Judy's mom. B and Beatrice, both B's, my mother and my mother-in-law. So we dedicated so many of our rides to Molly B's Adele. And you know what? They came to our rescue every single time.
Yeah.
Yeah, one time we rode from our houses in Sharon to Wareham, and we had this old map that was from Boston, I guess, or from Massachusetts.
It was Massachusetts bicycling map, yeah.
And it wasn't very good. And we'd go up one road and there's no road, or we go down here and there's a path. So every single time we had a problem, every time, someone would show up, and Judy and I would say, Molly B's Adele. And that happened 13 lucky times.
Yeah. Wow. We got there.
We got there.
Yeah. And one time, Ruthie was walking in the Susan B. Komen Walk for Cancer, and there was thousands of women doing it, and they were walking over 3 days, 60 miles. And that wasn't for me. I'm not that kind of a walker. But I wanted to do something, so I rode from my house 40 miles to Milton to at least be in an area that I knew that they would be coming through. And on the way, I said, Molly B. Adele, Molly B. Adele. Do you know, among those thousands of women, I reached the part of the road, and Ruthie was walking right past. At that very moment,
Yeah.
thousands of women. I couldn't believe it.
So we believe in our spiritual guides,
Yeah.
Molly B's Adele. Oh, and I wrote an article for the Boston Globe. It was in the Boston Globe magazine, and I called it Sending Rainbows, and it was dedicated and about Molly B's Adele.
So the road wasn't always dry. The weather changed quite often, and we had to change with it. And if it was really, really bad, there were times where we rode out the storm by ducking into a barn, one time into a garage. There was a man who said we could stay and duck in his garage. I'll let Ruthie tell that story.
So we did. We ducked into his garage, and he came out, and he said, oh, yeah, no problem. So, and then the wife came, and she said, would you like some pastry? So we said, sure. So in the meantime, this man is lugging these big boxes of Pabst Labatt's beer from the front to the back and the back to the front. And Judy says, you must be a distributor. And he says, oh, you've never been in the home of a bootlegger?
Bootlegging was big up there because they lost their fishing industry.
Yeah, this is Prince Edward Island that we were in.
So a lot of the guys who were fishermen, they were running bootleg liquor in the boats. So that's how they were making their living.
Yeah, we laughed a lot.
Yeah, and the time in the barn was interesting because that was it was an Amish barn in Pennsylvania, and it was a wicked thunderstorm, and a big bolt of lightning hit the ground on the street where we had been, and but we were ducking in that barn. There was 6 horses, and they were all kicking the stalls, and they were neighing, and the dog and the cat, and the wind was rushing through, and the hay was blowing over us and everything. But we stayed dry. And this was biking on the dikes up in Holland. And this was the one time that we went with a group.
Yeah, it was called a bike and barge tour. So during the day, we would be on our bikes during the day, and at night the barge would catch up to us.
Yeah. However, go ahead.
Well, Judy is a photographer, as you can see, and these pictures, of course, are all Judy's, except the one I took of her on the bridge. So she likes to kind of hang out and ask questions and find out more about where we've been. So she's snapping away, and you know what? the group is going, leaving. And she had a race to catch up to everybody.
Yeah, that's why we just needed to be on our own and do it our own timing and meet the people that we wanted to meet. And this was one time we really shared the road with a few people.
We did the 5 Boroughs ride in New York.
Yeah, it was a charity ride, and there were thousands of bikers. And they shut down all the roads and the bridges, and we went through. It was an interesting ride. But this is
what we really like.
More like us.
Yeah.
Right. Time to pick raspberries on the side of the road. Time to take pictures
And there
on
she
the
is.
side of the road. Yeah. Time to have a snack on the side of the road. Oh, yum. Oh, yes, we did have some breakdowns. Okay. And
But we were pretty savvy. Before we did all of this, we took some lessons so that we knew how to change tires, we knew how to fix our gears, fix chains. So we weren't ignorant about and we always had a first aid kit, and we always had tools with us.
yeah. And the road sometimes got really hot. And we did find ways to cool off. There was a couple of rivers in Vermont, I remember. When all else failed, we went into a restroom someplace and soaked our shirts and then put the wet shirt back on. And that was quite cooling. But yes, we hit somebody's sprinkler. And no, that's not us. But I'll let Ruthie tell this story.
Well, we were in Newport, right? You tell the
We
beginning.
were at the base of the Champlain Islands, and we were biking through the islands eventually and ending up in Magog. And these people we had a spaghetti dinner with the night before. They just happened to be staying in the same place, and they were going to swim 25 miles from there to Magog, which is in Canada, actually. And we were going to bicycle 50 miles to get to the same place.
Sounds reasonable, right?
Yeah, but we got lost.
Yeah, very lost.
And by the time we got there, it was 65 miles for us. And some of the last people were coming in.
Yeah, this is a great story, only because this woman we had dinner with at the spaghetti the night before, and she, not that she got lost, but she ran into turbulence, so she was swimming. So when we got to where they were it kept coming out of the water, this woman was there. Now tell me, is that a Molly B. Zadell moment?
Yeah. Oh, we shared the road with other kinds of people too.
And they weren't always friendly.
Yeah, no. Yeah, stay away from my flock, he's saying. Yeah, the ram. Oh, and these turtles are where they're supposed to be, but occasionally they're on the road. And over the years, we haven't been fast enough to save a turtle, and we've seen them get squashed underneath a car. But there was one time that there was a snapper on the road, and I was by myself this day, and I quickly parked my bike. I ran out in the road, held the thing behind toward the rail legs so as not to get bitten or scratched, and I got him to the side of the road. And you know where it was? Washington Street in Walpole. Yeah, others to share the road with. Pennsylvania, as you can see.
The good part about not being with a lot of people and not being on a bus tour, we could go on these very back roads, and that made everything so much more interesting.
We even shared a road with a smelly garbage truck, and we couldn't get rid of him. He either caught up to us or we caught up to him, and it was very annoying for everybody. But
we made friends with him eventually.
Yeah, eventually, we had a nice conversation. Oh, yes. And sometimes in our fabulous biking Bible there's many directions to follow. And very often it includes a fork in the road. You fork to the left, and then the next one you say, oh, no, now you fork to the right, and then it's fork to the right, left. And we couldn't sometimes remember which direction we were on. And we needed a Molly Bedell moment at those times. But then we were in Dartmouth, and we came across a sculpture, a fork in the road. So that's why we took the little portrait of me there. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Now, at the end of a long day, okay, boy, there's nothing like a shower. Okay, and yes, no, this wasn't the exact the place that we took it, but there was one motel that we pulled into, and we took turns who was going to take the first shower. So this was Ruthie's turn to take the first shower, and she did. And then I went in, and I said, Ruthie, there's no water. And she says, oh, I'm so sorry, I used up all the hot water. And I said, no, there's no water. The pump had broken. And the funny thing is, the name of the town that this happened in was called Pugwash. Okay, haute couture. Okay, sometimes we took the helmets off, and we loved to go into antique stores, and often did. And when we did,
once in a while we actually bought something. So we went into this antique store and we saw these old baseball uniforms from the 1920s. And we tried them on, we bought them, and I was saying that I never wore mine, but Judy wore hers to, I think, a costume party?
It wasn't a costume party. And I think I only did it that once. They were itchy, they were wool. They were itchy wool. But what we did, we often tried on the antique hats in the stores and took selfies of ourselves in the mirror.
Way before digital cameras.
And yes, there was even during the COVID, okay, no fancy hats, but that's what we had to don at that time. But we still went. And I remember Ruthie would drive, I would sit in the back seat, and we both have the masks and the windows down, but we got there.
Oh, this was in Holland. Unfortunately, our luggage did not catch up with us, so we were without luggage for 2 days on this bike and barge tour. But the people were so nice, and they were so generous, and they gave us these kind of helmets and little rain jackets and cover-ups.
Yeah. But we made do, and we were in Arnold Arboretum and riding along, and I just thought that she was so coordinated. I wanted to take a snapshot of her as well. All right, folks along the way, and this is what we love to do. We're in no rush to get to our destination. The thing is to meet people and talk to the locals and find out about what's going on in the area and what's interesting and their lives and all of that kind of thing. That's Passamaquoddy woman gathering straw to make baskets. And if we saw an open workshop, we invited ourselves in. And this man was creating ultra light bicycles, making the frame out of bamboo. And Ruthie tried it out.
They're not very popular.
No, we've never seen one since, but yeah. These young men were explaining their apprenticeship to become a lobsterman, and we learn along the way. Some of the photographs that I referenced for the my watercolors, which are at the library right now. I'll show you a few as we go through. And this was a retired fisherman, And he explained to us what his life was like on the waters. These were peat cutters in Ireland. Same thing. They took the time to talk to us. It was wonderful. Just some local fishermen up in Ireland, and even shared their fly box with us. Yeah. Some of twins, Mennonite boys. Yeah. She was gathering Irish moss to make carrageen and to make a lot of things, actually, ice cream being one of them. And this is down in the Chesapeake.
Yeah, and he taught us the difference on the backside of the clam. One has the Capitol building and one has the Washington Monument. So one is female and one is male.
And again, that's a watercolor of a dilapidated crab shack.
Oh, this was great. We were just cycling down this long road in Ireland, and we just came upon these two fellows who were shearing sheep. And we asked every question we could think of as they're shearing the sheep. It took 10 minutes for each one, and then they would just bring more and more sheep in.
Yeah, we hit a real northeaster. This was up in Prince Edward Island. And we were soaked when we got to their house, and they took our clothes and did the laundry for us, and even gave us their car so we could go and have something for supper. And that night, his pigs had a litter, and there they are. And then this was one of many farms that we went to, only this time we had to go down a dirt road that was about 2 or 3 miles long to get to their place, and there was no going out for supper for us. We had some leftover cookies and a banana, I think, and they says, oh, no, you will join us for supper. So those are the nice kind of people that they were. And of course, there's barn cats, on these farms. So again, I referenced a painting off of the barn cats. And this is up in Nova Scotia.
Yeah, Antigonish.
Yeah. And this is called a ceilidh. They were pounding the wool. And then afterwards, they had
a square dance. And these were lovely older people who were doing a square dance, and we're tapping along and we're excited about it, but we're off on the sidelines. And finally Judy and I said, well, we got to get out there. So we got out there, but they were not very happy with us because
oh, did we mess up? We ended up in the wrong group and everything. They'd never be the same.
But they were kind.
And this man redeemed himself by giving us very yummy blueberry muffins in the morning to make up for the raccoon family that was in the wall of the bedroom that we were sleeping in. Yeah. And this man, for whatever reason, we've always remembered his name. He was Aubrey. And Aubrey was a little lonely, and he was delighted to have people to talk to. And he was also a grave digger as well as a farmer. And yeah, he explained to us, what you have to do in the wintertime when somebody dies and all of this stuff.
He went on and on and on.
Yeah, and we said, well, we got to head out now. But he just didn't stop talking. We finally had, he was still talking when we left. And then, yes, we visited cemeteries, actually.
You can learn a lot from a cemetery.
Yeah, we were the only ones talking there. And then we were in Montauk at the base of the Hamptons, and we were having a granola bar and overlooking the ocean with a cliff that went way, way down. And so we're munching on our snack, and along comes a mailman, and he says, by the way, do you know what's behind you? And we said, no. And he said, turn around. He said, that was Jimmy Buffett's place. Oh. Yeah. Wasting away in Margaritaville. And of course, fellow bicyclers up in Holland, they take everything and everybody on the bike. Beach bikers in, I think we were down the Cape. But this reminded me that we come across the Vermont bike tour people. There was a whole group of them. And we got to talking to them. And they were telling us, we asked what they paid. And at this time, they paid $1,200 to do 5 days of biking. And we compared that to what we were paying ourselves, $450 for 8 days of biking, plus the cost, including the cost of the rental car.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, we met the Wounded Warriors, too, while we were in Pennsylvania. And this is a whole family that takes to the roads. Wow. Yeah, amazing. And delivered the mail up in Ireland, and future bikers. And an elderly biker, and I don't know how she sat on the bike seat with that long coat, but somehow she did. And again, to keep ourselves busy, okay, we often notice the architecture as we go along.
So this is a beautiful high-style Victorian, and I would take pictures of them and I'd show them in my classroom.
And but we had a large. I like the old rustic stuff, so we've got some comparisons here for you. That's up in Magnolia, and down in Newport, Westport.
Isn't that gorgeous?
Yeah.
That's a Gothic. When we came across architecture that we loved, we just had to take the pictures. Or in Judy's case, the ones that were a little bit ramshackle. She enjoyed photographing them.
As you can see. Yeah. Our taste is very broad.
And of course, the Newport mansions.
And rundown, simple, rural.
And then, of course, the high style.
And the has-been. And a picture of a two-gabled Gothic in their driveway mirror. This is actually Gothic as well. Okay, so this was, I quote Ruthie. She said, "We're not trespassing, we're only exploring." And the next pictures are self-explanatory. Yep, we went into workshops when we could. And then we were in the backyard. This was in Martha's Vineyard, and there was an airport, and their backyard had a nice vantage point over the airport. But, well...
So we just decided to trespass and sit down, and these nice ladies invited us on their porch. And Judy's right behind me. She snapped the picture as that plane was coming right over.
Yeah.
Oh, this is in Lunenburg, in Nova Scotia, just a gorgeous, gorgeous church.
And there was a rummage sale across the way, and there was a man there who turned out to, we talked to him, and turned out to be the pastor. And we said, "What a lovely church, we'd love to go in." And he said, "Be my guest." And he gave us a key that was about 8 inches long, and that's Ruthie opening up the door. So it beat looking in the windows.
Oh,
Okay.
But sometimes if it were inclement, we would find a porch to sit on.
Usually when there was nobody home, there was no car in the yard. But one time we were sitting in a porch, and the woman drove home. And hi. But she was very nice. I think she offered us water, and So, okay, and then repast. Okay, diners and winers. My grandson, but that's how much we loved our ice cream.
And we never passed up a diner.
No. After a long day on the road, we've chowed at diners. Loved the diners. And that's a selfie of me deciding what pie I was going to choose for dessert.
And we did stop at wineries, and most of them were free. We were up in North Fork in New York, and then we were in the Finger Lakes in New York as well. And one time,
Yeah, so there was a lot of wineries, and they were all freebies, and it was hard, not to just drive past in our bikes. So we made stops, and then we were going along a road that was clogged with traffic, and it was a narrow road, and there was maybe that much room between the cars and a ditch. And the ditch was a real rain collecting ditch, okay, because it's hilly there. And the ditch was at least 10 feet deep. And I hit a divot in the road, and I went down head first into the ditch with the bike flipping over me and ending up underneath me. And I could hear a collective, "Oh," coming from the cars, and Ruthie screaming. But I was as loose as a goose. I didn't get hurt. I was just flexible, I guess. It was the wine. That's why. Yeah. I didn't care what happened. So, and this is just us being us. That's Ruthie thinking that the pedaling would be a little easier if she put a little petrol in. And that's me. I couldn't stop pedaling after a while. And then
we were up in...
I got to go back again for a second. So there was one place up in the Champlain Islands that we were staying at, and after a day of biking, they had a little lake there, and you could take out a rowboat or you could take a paddle boat out. And after biking 50 miles that day, we get there and we go to the lake, and Ruthie says, "Paddle boats, I love paddle boats." I just looked at her. I said, "There's no way we are going to do any more biking." So this is up in one of the islands off of Maine. It was either Vinyl Haven or North Haven, and they had this marvelous quarry. And we were hot.
Really wanted to go in the water, but we had no bathing suits. So we found a little antique store, and we bought our bathing suits.
That's not us.
That's not us.
No. Yeah, but there was a thrift store, and we got some used bathing suits. And so we got there, we swam, got cooled off. Now, this is not getting cooled off. This is Iceland, and this is just getting beautiful. The Blue Lagoon.
Blue Lagoon.
Yeah.
We did not bike in Iceland. It was a stopover between the States and Holland.
Yeah.
Oh, and when in Ireland, you had to have a Guinness, or at least try it.
Yeah. And this was during the time, this was our field of dreams. Yeah. And after a long day bike, yes, I was pooped. And then, and again, collecting photographs. We were along the coastline so often, and so a lot of these are coastal pictures. The Kennedy compound. A painting. It's a photograph, but it made it look like a painting.
That's Menemsha.
Painting Point Judith. North Light in Block Island, and Nubble Light up in Maine. And I collected clothesline pictures, and a lot of clotheslines. And I put a couple of negatives together. Again, it's not shooting digital. It's all negative film. So to get a double exposure like that, you got to put negatives together. Another clothesline painting. painting. And I have a whole file of outhouses, if you can believe it. You know, but like I said, we like antiques. And wildflowers. I went through a period of time where I had a field guide, and we'd go off, and I would, identify as many wildflowers as I could. Sometimes the back of my bike looked like that. And then sometimes I had fun putting the wildflowers, making a picture out of them. Yeah, tansy and the lupines. Yeah, and Rosa rugosa. And then there were pathways. There were paths that we didn't bike. And that's Ruthie going down the path in a painting. And we went to Monhegan Island where you couldn't bike, but we biked up to there and beyond there, but while we were there, we hiked. Okay. And then at the end of the day, when I couldn't take any more daytime pictures, I took nighttime pictures. And that's the Milky Way. Okay, and then that brings us to Charlie and Henry.
We were lucky enough to have an article written about us. This was in 2001, I think. Friends over 25 years, 14,000 miles. That was in the Globe South. And we were lucky enough, more recently, on our e-bikes, to have an article.
Yeah, we're
down the bottom.
We're at the bottom.
You can ignore the top.
Yeah, that was Billy Baker,
Yeah.
who came to Martha's Vineyard with us. He writes some light articles for the Globe. Yeah,
That's us.
yeah.
Now we're on Charlie and Henry because at some point in our travels we decided that we'd like to go way more miles, and we'd like to go way higher than we had on our 21 speeds. So we invested in e-bikes. And to me, it's a miracle. Judy still rides Brown Bear, unless she's with me, and then she'll submit to riding Henry. And there we are.
There we are. That's where it all began. And, we're still chasing the pot of gold at the end of the rainbow. But just to finish, we're going to finish with Move Over Willie Nelson. Here we come. Yeah. Okay. Wait a minute, 1 second. Okay. On the road again, with Charlie and Henry on the road again. The life I love is riding miles with my friend. I can't wait to get on the road again. On the road again, through sun and clouds and rain, we ride together. We're the best of friends, insisting that the world keep turning our way and our way. On the road again, going places that I've never been.
seeing things that I may never see again. I can't wait to get on the road again. If you have questions, we'd be happy to take them. Okay, hold on. You're going to get in trouble?
No, I admire like the wonderful relationship that Judy has and all that. Did you ever have a disagreement or a difference of opinion or anything? But I think your relationship is amazing and wonderful.
Thank you. Thank you. Did we ever have a disagreement? Oh, I turned it off.
Hello? Can you hear me? Yeah.
We really have not had any disagreements. I mean, we've had a little bickering maybe. She wanted to go faster, I wanted to go slower. That was usually the case. Or she wanted to go up a hill, and I said, no, we're not going up that hill. I have a nickname for her, Hillawaya. But I think in all our biking,
We got along
really, really well.
Yeah, we got along well. Yeah. Yeah. You're going to...
How often do you paint?
Well, I haven't been painting recently because we've been preparing for this. Plus, I've got the exhibit at the library. And I painted in the fall, though, in the early winter. But last summer, I do all my own framing and matting. So I didn't have time to paint then either. So I'm looking forward to, continuing to paint this fall. Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, sure.
Do we have children? Yes.
Yeah. See, look at my T-shirt. Did you see it?
Yeah. We both have boys, and our boys grew up being friends. They were basically the same ages, same grades.
Yeah. So I have 5 grandkids.
And they're local.
And Judy has 4 grandkids.
Yeah.
Do they ride bikes?
They do. They do ride bikes. And we've actually ridden bikes with them.
We have.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah. Yes.
Very heavy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes to both. They are heavy. They weigh about 40 pounds. And then we never lift them with the battery on because that's another 10 pounds. So altogether it's 50 pounds. And we have a Thule bike carrier, and there's actually a ramp that you can roll the bike up onto it. And yeah. But the bikes can get away from you. You got to be careful, when you're getting off, especially if you've got bags on the bike and so forth, because if it starts to fall, that's a lot of weight to grab, to ride it.
But they're miracles. I'm highly recommend it. But there is a learning curve. You just don't get on them and ride. You have to take your time and study it a little bit.
Yeah, and they generally go too fast, too soon.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, how did it work when you rented a car? I mean, someone drove the car and you drove the bikes?
No, we would drive the cars up and then park them, usually at the place that we were staying. And we'd either do a day trip from there, or we would do a couple of nights from that place to someplace else and circle back. And the people were nice enough to let us keep the car at their place. Yeah. Yeah.
Do you have a favorite destination?
Do we have a favorite destination?
Well, anywhere along a coast.
Yeah.
I think, and Judy loves going to Westport.
Oh, for a local, yeah, I love
trip.
going down to Westport. But I think of all the places, Maine, I'm most partial to bicycling up in Maine and Nova Scotia, but it's not as easy to get there. You have to fly or take a ferry or a long drive. Yeah. Yeah, yes.
Have either of you written in the Pan Mass Challenge?
No.
No, basically because we're not fond of riding with a crowd. No.
Yeah, it's very difficult to ride with other people. And you know what? We're explorers. The people generally who are in the mass, their heads down and they're going and they're going.
Yeah.
We don't ride like that. You know, we're looking around, we're talking to people. That's our purpose in our mission when we ride.
Yeah.
Any other questions? Yeah.
What about writing a book?
Oh,
About
actually,
this?
yeah, we have journals that
Oh, yeah.
we could refer to, definitely. But actually, Ruthie is a writer,
I'm an author.
and she is an author of not biking, but other
Although
things.
one of my books is about Veronica, and Veronica is a bicycler, so it's called Veronica Recycled, and it incorporates a lot of me in it.
But she steals things.
She does. I never stole things, but it makes a good story. But we kept journals.
Yeah. Yeah, we've got a few on the table here, you know, but yeah.
And I did make.
Oh.
I through Shutterfly, at one point, you know, I put everything together. And there's our cover. Yeah. So.
What books have you written and are they available at the Walpole Library?
Oh, they are available at the Walpole. I wrote 4 books. I have another one coming out in September, and they are available at the Walpole Library. One is called The Mahjong Mavens of Boca Raton. Another is called Millie Finds Her Bench, Veronica Recycled, and Inside the Lockbox. And 3 of the 4 are about older women finding their mojo, discovering who they are, and reliving everything they can.
So when you go to the Walpole Library, you can see my exhibit.
And you could
can
read my
look
books.
at books. What a package.
Thank you so much. Thank you for coming.